So we have this encoding of Letrec that doesn't really work for anything other than functions. And we have an implementation of Letrec that relies on PLA types Letrec, and neither of those are really satisfactory at the moment. There's another way of thinking about Letrec as an expansion, which is in terms of set. For example, if you have letrec fac, some function and then a use, you could change this to let fac be, well, some made-up value, like 42, pick anything, and then go back and reassign fac to be a function. This fac in the function body now can refer back to the definition because it's inside the body of the let, and then we can use fac after that, kicking off the factorial function. So this is an approach that works when you have an assignment in your language, and in fact it's the way that letrec is ultimately defined in the scheme programming language. But if you don't already have set in your language, then it's not a way of explaining letrec. On the other hand, you can use this idea as long as you have set in your implementation language. Right? You don't have to expose the set. You just need some notion of assignment or of store in your interpreter. Since we know how to deal with stores, we're going to take advantage of assignment in PLAI type to implement recursive bindings. And of course, you could take another step and implement it with stores, avoiding boxes in PLAI typed if you want. That means that our bindings are going to be boxes of values, not just values and not functions that produce values. And that means that when we look up a value in the environment, when we pull it out of the record, it's now not really a value. It is a box containing a value, so we need to unbox it to get the value out. And what this will let us do is, of course, assign to identifiers that are in the environment. So our letrec now is going to have a name, a right-hand side, and a body, as always. The template would encourage us to interpret the right-hand side and the body in the environment, but we know that this isn't right. This is what's interesting about letrec, is that it needs a new environment that extends the current one with a binding for n. So we're going to set up that new environment, extending the current one with the binding for n, where over here we get to put our, for now, arbitrary value that's inside of a box. So since we're binding, we always need to bind to a box, and we're going to put the arbitrary value 42 in there. And then after we get a value back from here, we're going to need to put it in a box. So actually I'm going to give that box a name. I've just rearranged to say we bind the name to the box B, where B is that box containing 42. And then when we interpret the right-hand side, we can take that value and put it into the box. Once we've done that, our environment is all patched up and we can go work on the body. So we just need to do these things in sequence.